What are the best movies of all time? Ranking the best movies ever made is pretty impossible task. However, the close things to definite ranking is a list of based on audience ratings. In that sense, IMDb list of the top rated films of all time might be among the best list of this kind. Here the list of 10 best IMDb rated movies of all time. Number 10, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings 2001. Peter Jackson, The Lord of the Rings trilogy is rightfully hailed as one of the highest fantasy movies franchise ever. The Fellowship of the Ring, the first installment where the team sets out to destroy a powerful ring to defeat an evil tyrant, earns its place inside IMDb's top 10 with its epic scope and engagement writing. Number 9, Fight Club 1999. While the first rule of Fight Club forbids us to talk about the Fight Club, the David Fincher directed as a mind-bending work of art. Starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter, it is a takes you through the making of a secret underground fight club and its founder twisted mind. A mind that cannot distinguish between through the reality until its illusion break. Number 8, Forrest Gump 1994. Tom Hanks created a perhaps his most iconic film character of all time with the titular character in Forrest Gump. The film follows the many misadventures of a simple yet kind man as he inadvertently inserted himself into many of biggest moments in American history. Number 7, Pulp Fiction 1994. Quentin Tarantino is one of the most popular filmmaker of all time. His unique voice, extensive film knowledge and penchant of mixing hilarious comedy with brutal violence helped to inspire a generation of filmmakers. Pulp Fiction is regarded by many as his masterpiece and it's hard to argue with that. The film intercuts between various stories set in the Los Angeles underworld. Tarantino takes filmer crime stories and gives them its own special twist. Number 6, Gladiator 2000. Though the so-called swords and sandals movies seemed long out of fashion at the time, Gladiator brought new life into the genre with rousing adventure. Russell Crowe starred as the Maximus, a Roman general who is betrayed and forced to fight with his life as the gladiator. With Ridley Scott at the helm, it is not surprised the movie delivers some amazing action sequences from the opening battle to the fight with the Colosseum. Crowe helped to elevate the story of his Oscar-winning role, while Joaquin Phoenix is just effective as the traitorous Imperial Commodore. Number 5, The Lord of the Ring Return of the King 2003. The Return of the King is conclusion to Lord of the Rings trilogy what a conclusion it is. Grand, epic, emotional and satisfying. It is a textbook definition of a trilogy final done right. At the time of the writing, Return of the King remains the large sweep in the history of the Oscar winning all 11 awards for which it was nominated. Truth be told, it deserved each and every one of them as approved by its Rotten Tomatoes score of 93. Number 4, The Godfather Part 2 1974. The Godfather Part 2 isn't only the greatest crime dramas ever made, but also one of the best movie sequels of all time. It's follow Michael Corleone, now the expanding crimes family leader, while seamlessly showing the rise of the young Vito Corleone. There is nothing to be admired about this master sequel. It accompanies the first film theme and story beautifully. Poetic beauty in the watching Michael's downfall into the deepest depth of humanity while Vito ascending into power with his leadership and sense of loyalty. Number 3, The Godfather 1972. The question of which is the best movie ever made, of course, highly debated or one. But if there's the one film that always come up this conversation, that it has to the franchise Ford Coppola's Godfather. Its sequel is pretty darn close to being just as good, but as proved by its movie 97 Rotten Tomatoes score, it is hard to beat the original. It is worthy of all praise that it gets the more, since it's much of an emotionally powerful family drama as the is devastating crime tragedy where every element works wonderfully well. Number 2, The Dark Knight 2008. Like Jackson Lord of the Ring trilogy, Christopher Nolan's Dark trilogy is considered one of the best of its genre. The movie Bear Batman holds a mantle with his most intimidating foe, yet is the riveting crime superhero thriller. Even those who aren't fans of Nolan usually admit that Dark Knight trilogy is great and one of his best. Full of suspenseful set piece of sporting one of the best supporting performances in American cinema history of the late Heath Ledger. It constantly proves itself worthy of its impressive 94% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 1, The Shawshank Redemption 1994. It's no surprise that its highest ranking film of all time is also the most crowd-pleased film of all time. It can be easy to assume that the story is set inside a maximum security prison would not have many pleased moments, but The Shawshank Redemption managed to be a surprisingly uplifting tale. Based on a Stephen King story, that film is told over several years at the titular prison and center of its friendship between two inmates. The relationship between the two men is one of the most heartwarming friendship ever shown on the screen, and it helps give the film those beautiful moments which lead up the one of the greatest ending in the film's history.